Good morning, my dear friends. Now I am going to present specially ancient temple architecture, part 3, which is related with the Dravidian temple architecture. In my previous class, I have mentioned three types of temple architecture: Nagara temple architecture or North Indian temple architecture, and then Dravidian temple architecture or South Indian temple architecture, and the Bhasara temple architecture, which was mixed Nagara and Dravidian temple architecture. Now I am trying to present here Dravidian temple architecture. Dravidian temple architecture, especially known to us South Indian temple architecture. Especially some features which is related with the Dravidian temple architecture, which is specified the South Indian temple architecture or Dravidian temple architecture. Here I am trying to mention special features of Dravidian architecture are it was popular in South India. That means this type of style temple architecture you have find in South India. And the entire temple complex was enclosed in a compound wall, which is not seen in the Nagara style. That is the basic difference between Nagara style and Dravidian temple architecture style. That means entire complex of the temple was enclosed in a compound wall or compound boundary, which is not seen in the Nagara style. In the Nagara style, there was no compound wall, free, open temple, but in the Dravidian temple architecture, the total temple was enclosed in a compound wall. And gopuram are often large and highly decorated. Gopuram, that means entrance of the temple or gateway of the temple. But the Nagara style, there was no gopurams, but in the Dravidian style or South Indian temple style, there was a gopuram in front of the temple or gateway of the temple. Srirangam Temple of Tiruchirapalli are 7 concentric walls rectangular in shape, each having a gopuram. That means in South India, Srirangam Temple, especially in Tiruchirapalli, 7 concentric walls rectangular in shape and each have a gopuram. That means 7 rectangular in space walls and the 7 gopuram or gateways is there. So the Dravidian architecture or South Indian temple style is different from the Nagara style based on compound wall and gopuram and the rectangular in shape. So the Dravidian style of architecture specified in South Indian region and the South Indian temple architecture. The Bhimana located above the Garbhagriha is often like a stepped pyramid or geometrical in shape. That means Bhimano after Garbhagriha to Kalasa, that Bhimano like a stepped pyramid, pyramidical structure of the Bhimano, and also geometrical shape in shape. That is the special feature of the Dravidian temple architecture. Pyramidical structure of Vimano and the geometrical shape in structure. Above the Vimano is the topmost portion, which is shaped like a stupika. In a place of the stupika, Amo, Loka and the Colosso may be present of the North Indian temples. So, the Dravidian temple architecture specified on the shape like a stupika. In which place? In place of the stupika, Amuloka and Colosso, which was present of the North Indian temples. That is the features which is related with the Dravidian temple architecture and also specified by the South Indian temple architecture. And the another feature was a water tank in the temple compound was the distinct feature of Dravidian temple. But a water tank, that is the special features of the South Indian or Dravidian temple architecture, which is related with the temple compound. But the Nagara style, there was no water tank in the compound, temple compound. So the special feature of the Dravidian temple architecture is that a water tank in the temple compound was the distinct feature of Dravidian temples. At the entrance of a temple, images or sculptures of fierce-looking Darapalos or guards would be present. It is also another features that you must have seen. Entrance of the temple, some images or sculpture, and especially Darpalos or guards. That means Darpalo and guards in the entrance of the temple is a special feature of the Dravidian temple architecture. In some temple complex in South India, where multiple Garbhagrihas are found, that means Garbhagriha, where the main deity is settled, it was in South Indian temple architecture that you will find in multiple Garbhagriha. Important temples at Tanjavur, Madurai, Tiruchirapalli, Kanchipuram, Kumbhakonan, and Mahabalipuram. So, the Dravidian temple architecture is very important to our Indian architecture, art and architecture, or the history of art and architecture that specified with the specific identity or special classification of the Dravidian style, which is related with the compound wall or multiple Garbhagrihas or the water tank or the gopuram or gateways of the temples. So the Dravidian temple style architecture also classified based on shape. I am trying to mention here classification of Dravidian temple based on shape. Uta or Kotushara, there were temples with square shape. Some temples are in square shape, those who are related with the Kuta or Katushara, and the Shola or Ayatsara, they are rectangular in shape. So the rectangular in shape temple, also known as Sala or Ayatoshar, Gajaprishtha or Hitiata Gajaprishtha means elephant back, shaped like an ellipse or Vrittatta, which were similar to valued shapes of chaitas, which have a horseshoe-shaped entrance. Gajaprishtha or Vrittatta Gajaprishtha means elephant back. That means Gajaprishtha is another style of Dravidian temple architecture which shaped like an elpis or Vrittatta, which were similar to vaulted shapes of chaitas, which have a horseshoe-shaped entrance. That means horseshoe-shaped entrance and vaulted shaped chaitas, and the elephant back was the another features of the Dravidian temple architecture, was named Gajaprishtha temple style. And then Vritta or circular shaped temples. Vritta or circular shaped temples. That means rounded, especially circular. And Astasaro or octagonal shaped temples. Astasaro means octagonal shaped temples. Octagonal shaped temples is related with the special features of the Dravidian temple architecture. Vritta or circular shape is another temple styles, and the Astasaro or octagonal shape temples is another features of the Dravidian temples architecture. Different temple groups in South India also mentioned here. Different temple groups in South India, which is identified special feature, which is related with the specific dynasties. I am trying to mention here Pallava architecture that is related with the rock cut culture. The most famous temple is the Shore temple at Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram. Pallava art and architecture, as you know, rock cut culture, especially rock based temple structure, and it has three sides The east and the west ones are dedicated to Lord Shiva, and middle one to Lord Vishnu. Structure of Nundi, water tank, and Gopuram is also found here. So the Mahabalipuram or Mamullapuram temple, if you trying to specify it or identify it, there was three shrines, the east and the west ones, which dedicated to Lord Shiva, and middle one to Lord Vishnu. So the Mamallapuram is dedicated for the Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. And also structure of Nandi, water tank, and Gopuram is also found here. So the Gopuram, Nandi, water tank, and the three sirens are the specific features of the Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram rock cut culture. That is the Pallava architecture. And the different temples groups in South India. Different temple groups in South India, which mentioned here, and the Pallava temples are also classified as per rulers and the features of temples. So the Pallava temples architecture also classified as per rulers and the features of temples. That means Mahendra Varman group during the reign of Mahendra Varman I, 7th century CE, and that, for example, Tiruchirapalli temple. So the Mahendra Varman group of architecture during the Pallava period, especially 7th century CE, and for example, Tiruchirapalli temple was the Mahendra Varman style or Mahendra Varman group temple style established during Pallava dynasty. Narasimha group, second stage, the temples were carved out of monolithic rocks. Monolithic rocks, monolithic rocks, and also had intricately carved sculptures. And for example, Mandapa and Pancharathas of Mahabalipuram, special feature of that temple. And Narasimha group, that is the second stage of the Pallava temple style, the temples are carved out of monolithic rock and also had intricately carved structures. That is the Mandapa and the Pancharathas of Mahabalipuram specified the Narasimha group of the Pallava temple architecture. Rajasimha temple architecture also related with the Pallava temple architecture, which is known to us Rajsimha group under Narasimha Varma II, also known as Rajsimha. Structural temples were built during this period. Rock cut temples to real structural ones, that is Kailasnath temple at Kanchi and Shore temple and Mahabalipuram is the specified by the Rajsimha group. And the structural temples were built special real structure ones. So the Rajsimha group temple architecture, it is also rock cut architecture specify structural ones. That is Kailasnath Temple at Kanchi and Shore Temple and Mahabalipuram also related with the Pallava rock cut architecture. And Nandi Burman group, the temples are smaller but they were structural temples, that is the Vaikundo Perumal Temple at Tiruvennali and Mukteshwar Temple. That means Nandi Burman group temples specified on as smaller in size, but they were structural temples. That is the Vaikuntha Perumal Temple at Tiruvennali and Mukteswar Temple, which is the specified as Nandi Burman group style temple and related with the Pallava rock cut architecture or rock cut culture. So the Nandi Burman group temples architecture, they are smaller but they are structural. And for example, Vaikundo Perumal Temple at Tiruvennali and Mukteswar Temple. And then Chola architecture, it is also South India architecture and also Dravidian style, and most important temple is Brihadasari Temple at Tanabur, built by Rajraj Chola in 1009 CE, also called Rajrajeshwar Temple. This is the largest and tallest temple in India. So the Chola architecture, also the South Indian temple architecture and also Dravidian style architecture. And also most important temple is Brihadasari Temple at Tanavur and built by Rajraj Chola in 1009 CE, and it is also called Rajrajeshwar Temple. This is the largest and tallest temple in India. So the Dravidian style temple architecture, also known to South Indian temple architecture, South Indian temple architecture, also related with the regional temple architecture and also related with the dynastic or ruler based architecture. As I mentioned here, Pallava temple architecture, Chola architecture as the Dravidian or South Indian temple architecture. So the Nagara temple architecture or Dravidian temple architecture are basically different in style and location or regional or pattern. Nagaram style temple architecture and Dravidian style temple architecture both are related with the ancient temple art architecture and rock cut culture. Thank you. If you like, then subscribe and share also. Next day, I will meet with you on the other